so much for coming, and thank you for having me, because there's so many things here. I really appreciate it. So I wanted to talk to you about security champions today. So first I'm going to tell you what security champions are supposed to be, and then I'm going to talk about how I stumbled into building a champions program, and then how I ended up just building tons and tons of them for several companies. So I was a dev for a really long time, and when I switched into security, I had no idea I was a security champion. I was really excited. I was learning stuff on my own. I was reading blogs, listening to podcasts, very excited. And every time there was a security bug, I'm like, I'll fix it. I got this. I want to talk to the pen tester. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I got really, really excited about security. And eventually the security team said, well, we have an opening. Do you want to apply? And I was like, and surprise, I got it. I was the only applicant, to be clear. But, a security champion is supposed to be your person on every single different team. So this could be someone on the marketing team. This could be someone on the sales team. This could be someone on each different software development team where you work. And if you work at Juniper, there are a lot of software developers and network engineers. This person that is on another team is your champion, and by that I mean they sing the praises of security. You tell them about, for instance, marketing teams, you're like, GDPR, let's not violate that every day and get sued, it'll be great. And so you teach them about it and you tell them about it, and that person that's the champion does that work for you. So they communicate on your behalf. They tend to teach other people on their team. They're like, hey, you're going to do that and like put all that data into Facebook, but we didn't ask permission for our users to do that, so we're not allowed doing that, so please stop. And then and vice versa, you teach that person, you encourage that person, you enable that person to do their job securely and help give them all the tools and education they need to help their entire team succeed. And so I was a software developer and I switched to security, but at the same company. And so all the devs were my friends. That's who I had lunch with. And so then I started talking to them and I said, hey, I want to scan your apps with this little dynamic scanning tool. But I don't have time to do all 150. There's like 200 or 300 of you. There's one of me. Could I show you how? And could you scan those apps for me? And then tell me if you need help, and I'll be there. And then before I know it, I had one person on every single team that was my guy or my gal who would help me. And so then I started meeting with them at least once a month, if not more. And I'd be like, hey, Stefan, how's that secure coding library going? What's up, man? And I ended up building these really strong relationships with the devs that was different because I was on the security team. And so then when Stefan, who was my secure coding librarian, which is awesome, when he would say to his teammate, like, hey, you didn't scan your app like you're supposed to, or hey, like, remember she taught us not to do that. That's their peer saying that to them instead of the big bad security person. Because when I went on to my next office, I was the security person. The devs didn't know me. And previously they had been, in my opinion, abused by the previous AppSec person. They yelled no a lot, apparently. And so I had to rebuild trust. And again, reach out to each team, find that person who wanted to work with me. And one day I met this guy named Ray, and he has this blog. Come on in. There's a seat right there, and it has your name on it. But basically, my friend Ray, he writes this blog called hellasecure.com. And he's like, oh yeah, what you do, that's called Security Champions. That's what you've been doing for years. There's a name for it. Oh. I was like, I thought that was just my friend on that dev team, and my friend from marketing, and my friend from sales that makes sure that really bad stuff doesn't happen to our company. And so eventually, like by reading his blog, reading tons of blogs, realizing that there was a name for this, I started helping more and more companies do this. And I came up with a recipe that I'm going to basically, because we don't have an hour, and so I want to be respectful of your time, I'm just going to explain the recipe. So the first thing I do is I invite a whole bunch of people to be champions. I tell literally anyone that will sit still and listen to me. If there's all staff, I'm like, hi, I have 2 minutes with you, and I want to tell you about this, and I need your help, and if you're interested, email me. And so I just tell everyone who will listen, and anyone who's interested in security, I'm forming this champions team, and I just need 2 hours a month from you. And 2 hours is like not that scary. And one of the hours is sort of optional. Basically, it's like, I want to talk to you once a month. I want to ask, how's it going? I want to ask what you're working on and if you need help, and I'm going to help you with security stuff. And then the other hour is I'm going to hold some sort of learning thing, and if you could show up, that would be grand. But if you miss a few, I will live. And so then you have a few people. So let's say you have like 4 people, but you want 20 people. So continue. So step 2. So first one, invite people. So it's called recruiting, but whatever you want to call it, just invite them. Don't force them against their will. We are adults. No one likes that. No one wants to be voluntold. So then the second thing you do is you engage them. So you start learning about them, asking them about what they're working on, asking them what's coming next, what they need help with, and helping them. You start teaching them stuff, holding lunch and learns or presentations or whatever you want to call it. And then more people will come and people will start talking and they're like, I'm a security champion and it didn't even hurt. The security person has not yelled at me one time. And that's pretty good, right? And so as you engage them and you teach them more and you pay attention to them and give them your time and attention, more of them will start to reveal themselves and then invite them. And so at this point, hopefully you have a bunch of champions, but maybe not as many as you want. You don't have one from every team, but you have quite a few. So then the next thing I start doing is I start officially teaching them. So it's like, let's say you're in marketing and I want you to know these 3 things. I'm going to teach you how to do your job securely and in hopes that you teach the rest of the team. Some things apply to everyone. So like, let's say you want to have a password manager, and you want everyone to turn on multi-factor authentication, that's 2 thumbs up. That's even better. But you would teach everyone that. But sometimes you just want to talk to software developers or network engineers or operations folks. And so you'll have things that are just for them. But as you start teaching them, more people are going to talk. More people are going to show up. And you're going to have that person that asks a question every single time, or that person that emails you, or that person that shows up all the time. You should reach out and invite that person to be a champion. Sometimes people need a direct invitation. And this might sound really stupid, but there's a lot of people that have imposter syndrome, but who are completely amazing. And they have not received the memo that they are completely amazing. And sometimes you have to deliver that memo to them and be like, hey, so I saw you at all the lunch and learns and you ask really great questions and you're like always on top of all of the security bugs or things I report to you. Like, would you like to be a champion? And some of them will be like, oh, I don't know enough. And it's like, that's cool because I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you how. And then you might have to massage them a bit, be like, it's okay, don't worry, we can do this. Trust me, you're good enough. But then once you have enough champions and you're teaching them regularly all the things you need them to know, and you're talking to them at least once a month to see, so I asked 3 questions. What are you working on? What are you working on next? And then, do you need any help with like literally anything? I am your buddy and I want to help you. You're helping me, how can I help you? If you can just touch base with each one of them once a month and keep doing that, and then have some sort of learning session once a month, you can have a really good program. But if you want to have a fantastic program, so this is the end of the recipe, so there's 3 more things. So I have a question for all of you first. Who here has read either an article or the book or a blog post or something about the 5 love languages? Okay, awesome. There was like no one in my talk when I did this on Monday. So the 5 love languages are basically how people feel that they're loved. And some of them are wicked inappropriate to do at work, like touching. Don't do that. But you can recognize and reward people. So recognition would be words of affirmation. So for instance, you know how you told me that your team was doing this thing and you were worried about it? I came in, I talked to them, we improved it, and now they're all have MFA or doing the thing that I really needed them to do. Without you, that couldn't have happened. So thank you. Putting a note in their performance review to thank them for going above and beyond and being a champion for you. It might sound really silly, but making like a little certificate that goes on the wall in their cubicle, or like a virtual background in Zoom or Slack or whatever the thing is that you use to do your meetings, but to say like this person goes above and beyond for the security team and we value them. And that is recognizing your champions. And a lot of people feel loved when you recognize them. I'm one of those. If my boss is like, you did a good job, I'm like, and I would like that more than like a free dinner or something like that. That's how I am. But the other half of people tend to be gift driven. And so I feel like we can give gifts that reinforce the thing we want. So for instance, I wrote a book and I happen to think it's great. And if you come back to the Juniper booth tomorrow, you will get a copy of my book, I believe. Yeah, so they're gonna have 50 copies, I think, to give away throughout the day. So come and say, I saw this yesterday. Well, hi. Come and say, I saw this yesterday and that you want a book. I'm gonna sign them all today. I mean, I'm gonna come in tomorrow morning and sign them, but I can't actually be here all day. But the point is like if you can give them, like let's say a YubiKey, or give them a book about security that relates to their job, or let's say they're doing marketing and you give them a marketing privacy book, or let's say you buy them a ticket to RSA. There's so many things that you can do that is a gift, but that reinforces your awesome message of like, I really want you to keep doing cool security stuff. I usually pair privacy with security. You don't have to do that, but I find it's pretty nifty to make sure that they are obeying privacy rules like GDPR. Yeah, I've been almost bitten a bunch of times, so I'm like pretty nervous about that. Okay, so now we have done 5 of the 6 things. So we have recruited people, we have engaged them, we have taught them, we have recognized and rewarded them. The last part of the recipe is the really hard part, and that's that you shouldn't stop. You have to keep going. You are investing. You know, who here has read like The Wealthy Barber? So when I was young, they're like, if you invest money now, you'll be rich later. I'm like, but I'll be poor now, and that sucks. Right? But if you are investing in these other employees, you're investing in their education, you're investing in their knowledge about security, you're investing in these processes that help them be better champions for you. Don't stop. This is the biggest problem that happens with security champions programs. People start, they do like 20 things the first month, they do 10 things the next month, and the third month they're exhausted and they don't do anything for a year. And then I usually get some pretty cool consulting hours out of it, but that's not what I want. I want all of you to have successful programs. So if you can, pace yourself. Don't do 5 things the first month. Do 1 thing for 5 months, and then you just did 5 awesome months. If you can, share it with another employee. So for instance, I like to partner with the awesome privacy folks. I know security is different than privacy, but I respect what they do. And so if I'm like, you know what, my June's really crazy because there's RSA and I'm gonna be busy, I'll ask the privacy folks, can you do a presentation for all the security champions? And then you didn't stop and you didn't miss a month. If you have to miss a month for some reason, send them an email. And this might sound really cheesy, but send them an email and say, hi everyone, I hope you're having a great summer vacation, blah, blah, blah. We're not gonna have a presentation this month, but here's a podcast that I thought would help you. Here's a video from RSA of this talk that I thought really applied to this thing we do at work. Or here's whatever it is, and then next month we're gonna do that. I'm gonna see you all then. I'm still here if you need me. Send me a message, but this is what I have for you for now. Thank you for being a champion. I appreciate you. And then it sounds really silly, but I like to put a really silly meme at the bottom to make sure that they read to the end. If you've ever seen my newsletter, if you haven't seen the meme, that means I know you didn't read it. It works. And so with that, I want to thank all of you for coming to this. I want to thank you for coming to see me. And I want to ask who has questions because I was really fast and I bet there's a bunch. Does anyone have any questions? Well, thank you. How about this? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone have questions? You can ask there and then I'll repeat it here and you don't have to speak into a mic if that's scary.
Did you say the 6 weeks again? You said 6
Yes.
weeks.
Yes, so the recipe that I use is recruit, and so basically it means sends a lot of invitations. Engage, so become interested in them. Become interested in what they do. Pay attention, ask them lots of questions. 2, teach them. Teach them every single thing that you need them to know to do their job as securely as you wish they would. then recognize and reward, I put them as two separate ones. It's important you do both because some people, it doesn't matter how many nice words you say, if you don't give them a gift, they don't feel valued. And the opposite is true. I don't want a $200 bonus. I get paid very well. $200 is nothing. I want to hear my boss say, you rock. And so do both to make sure you hit everyone's kind of like feel. Do not do the other love languages because you might get in trouble. Oh, and then the last one is don't stop. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Does anyone have a program at work? Do they have a Security Champions program? Yeah. Is anyone thinking of starting one? I have a blog series of 10 blogs in a row where I drag this out with way more details and metrics and how to measure your program, etc. If you go to wehackpurple.com, and it's free. We Hack Purple just does free stuff now. We got acquired. That means we don't have to like make money. It's awesome. Thank you everyone so much for coming. And I think that the Juniper people probably want to talk to you. So thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it.